Hey everybody. How's everybody doing? It's been a little while. I came home from Connecticut and I've been home for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And I have 2 more weeks home before I go back. So today was my first official day back here at my home hospital in Northwest Arkansas. And I gotta tell y'all, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit concerned. You know, if you watched any of my lives while I was there in the hotspot, I talked about how I really looked forward to coming home because of the fact that things were different back home. And I gotta say, I came back home, and as long as I was at my house, it was fine. But whenever I came to work today, I saw way more of the virus than I anticipated. And, you know, there were jokes about how I brought it back with me. But I gotta say, y'all done a bang-up job of pumping up those numbers. Now, I am not doing this to start an argument because I'm not going to argue with you. It's like that simple. But I'm going to tell you right now, going from point A to point B and having sat on both sides of this fence, that if things don't stop going this direction, guys, we really are in trouble. I mean, like, all joking aside, it really, really does concern me. We had a 9-day-old today. Y'all, come on. And I hope that you guys, if you're watching me, you've watched me, you know, like over the last month or so. And you know that really, I really do mean it from a good place in my heart. Like I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not throwing out hype. I really am sincerely saying that this really is this is concerning whenever I come to work and I see this much. Whenever I left, there was hardly anything going on. Everything was closed. And guys, I'm not saying that everything needs to stay closed. I know we have to open back up. But I know, guys, I have been out to the restaurants and the stores and felt like I stand out like a sore thumb because I'm wearing a mask. And I think that is what concerns me the most. Like, it really legitimately worries me because I think there are so many of us that really, we're in our Arkansas bubble. And I know that the numbers are out there and that there's a lot of discussion over whether the numbers are going up because we're just testing more. And I know that that is true. Obviously, if you're going to test more, you're going to see more, which is good. We needed the testing. Arkansas was way behind on testing, and so we needed the testing. But here's what you really want to look at, and this is just my opinion, a nurse that has worked frontlines both angles, is that you want to look at how many deaths, okay, and you want to look at your hospitalization rate. But here's the other thing that you don't know that really is hard the governor really is not going to report on that. And that is, in your area, how many beds do you have and how many ventilators and how many nurses do you have to take care of those patients who are going to be hospitalized? Whether it's Arkansas or Georgia or Alabama or Florida or anywhere else, how many do you have? God bless, it's getting cold in here. Woo! How many do you have of what to take care of this? Because that we've talked about that before. Like, we initially, when everything shut down, we said we're going to do this not to make the virus go away. but to keep from overwhelming the health system. And then all of a sudden people were losing their jobs and the hospitals were dead, and we like swung the pendulum the opposite direction, right? Well, I can tell you that we are really in Northwest Arkansas, we are teetering on this point where we're going to have to start opening up and expanding these COVID units. Because the existing COVID units are running out of beds. And that means that they're sick enough to be admitted. And if they're sick enough to be admitted, they're sick. Whether they're in ICU or whether they're just in a regular room, they're still sick enough to be admitted. And all of us that have dodged this bullet, like in the first little brunt, that all the first wave of hotspots came. I think I'm really worried that that's what we're going to see. We're going to see it like come around and get us because we never saw it. And I understand, I get it. Today was really eye-opening for me. I had someone message me and say, hey, I haven't seen you do any lives, and I'd really like your take on what's going on in Northwest Arkansas. And I thought, well, that's interesting because today was my first day back to work. And guys, I didn't really even understand how much was here until I came to work today. So I completely understand if you don't work in an area where you're seeing it, that you're not going to understand the gravity of what I'm saying. So I guess that's just me asking you to trust me whenever I say I'm being 100% legit. It's no drama. I'm not hyping. I took care of more COVID today than I did of anything else. Of all my ER patients that I personally took, the majority of them were COVID. That was not that way when I left. So, obviously there's lots of reasons, and everybody can discuss and rationalize, and guys, you can do, I did the same thing. I sat there and I beat my head into a wall trying to figure it out. We could do this, or we're doing that, or we're not doing that, or, oh, well, we have this certain demographic, and we have that population, we have that ethnicity, and all of that's great, and that's all good information. But the bottom line is that it's still a lot of education that needs to get out, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, Marshallese, Asian, whatever it is just understanding that there are certain things that predisposition you that make it easier for this virus to attack you. And then there are other things that can make it easier for your body to fight it off. And then there are actions that you can take, like wearing your mask, and I call it excessive hygiene and hand hygiene, because I actually think I do get a little bit excessive. But that excessive hand hygiene, and yes, I don't want to sit at home. I'm with y'all. Hey Linda, I love you. I haven't seen you in so long. I don't want to sit at home. If y'all know me at all, I cannot stand to sit still. I have got to be moving. So I'm thrilled the stuff is opening back up. So this is where that might confuse you, but I still think that we can open things back up and still take the precautions instead of everybody running out thinking that it's really not going to affect them, or thinking that it's like a cold. I know flu percentage is way higher. I'm not comparing this to flu. I'm not even talking about flu. So push that aside. I am right now talking about what I am seeing, what is being admitted to the hospital in forms that I've never seen before. Some of the stuff that is showing up here that now looks similar to stuff that I was seeing in Connecticut. That really, 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 really worries me. I don't even know how else to say it, like, without just saying, for God's sake, stop doing whatever you're doing. Like, I had someone say, Jamie, you brought it back with you. And I was like, oh no, y'all did this way before my feet landed on the ground in Northwest Arkansas. But it's different when it's your home. You know, it's like, I would never wish what I came from and what I'm going back to. I would never wish that on anybody. Because it's such a different view. I mean, a different way of how you do everything. And, you know, we kind of lucked out. And I really hate to see that change. So take the precautions. And, you know, while I have your attention, can I throw this little tidbit out? And I promise to keep it short. You know, when I came back from Connecticut, I knew that I'd been to a hotspot. And I knew that obviously I'd been at higher risk because I worked with these patients. And as you guys know, nurses, medics, firefighters, police officers, grocery store workers, fast food workers, restaurant workers, if you're dealing with the public, you are at risk. Yes, the risk increases whenever you become a frontline worker. Absolutely. Meaning, when I mean frontline worker, sorry, let me specify. Healthcare frontline worker, okay? So, I understand people to be nervous to be around me. But let me educate you just a little bit, because I think this is important. A lot of us, not all of us, because I'm not going to speak for all of us, that would be foolish. But myself and a lot of people that I do know are so particular about every single detail. For example, when I go home, when I get out of my car, my shoes will go in a bag outside in my garage. All of my clothes will get stripped in my garage. They will get put in another bag. I will put a robe on. I will go straight up to my shower, and in my shower, I'm going to wash all the COVID off, right? And my clothes will go straight into the washing machine where they were washed. And then I will come back down to my car that I've ridden home in, and I will disinfect everywhere in my car where I have sat. And my bag that I've carried into the hospital will get disinfected. And my mask, my respirator, will be taken apart and disinfected. And that is all very labor intensive. And as much as it annoys me, it gives me great peace of mind that I'm not taking it back to my family or anybody else. But keep in mind that there are a lot of people out there that if 50% of us that are testing positive are asymptomatic, they're carrying the virus and they don't even know they're carrying the virus, which means they're not intentionally trying to transmit it, but if they're not being careful, they are. And that is a little unnerving, as opposed to a person who is constantly aware and overly cautious. So I'm past my 2 weeks. So technically by the books, if that's what you want to buy, I am completely free of, I have no symptoms. I'm good. But just keep that in mind whenever you see nurses or medics or whatever, before you put your guard up and you get really, paranoid. Fortunately, none of the really bad stuff has happened in Northwest Arkansas, but there are cities that healthcare workers are getting attacked, so they're having to change before they leave, and that's horrible. Hi, Sam. I just saw Sam pop up here. Sam's from Connecticut. But I'm gonna wave back to him. Anyway, I just want you guys to understand that there really is a lot of thought into everything that we do, as far as and I mean everything we do, to protect ourselves, to protect our family, and to keep from taking this out into the community. And so I just want you guys to know that. So anyway, numbers are on the rise. God, y'all, I cannot stress it enough. Please, please, please take this seriously. I know you may be one of those people that could get it and it could be a simple cough and it's fine. But you could also be my 41-year-old patient back in Connecticut that his 16-year-old daughter brought home to him, and a week and a half later he was gone. So no, it didn't kill the 16-year-old. It killed her dad. And that broke my heart, because that is something that is really hard for a 16-year-old to handle. A 16-year-old, guys. So sometimes it's not all about you. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean, like, I say that to myself, whenever I go through all my steps, is it's not all about me and me being convenient, because I'm hungry and I haven't eaten all day because we didn't have time for that. And I really just want to eat. So I hope you guys have a good night, and I hope you stay well. And I will be heading back to Connecticut in probably, hey Morgan, there's another one, in 2 weeks. And so you may not even see me until then. Anyway, all right, you guys have a good night. Talk to you soon.